Well, I was at Tennessee State University. The year was 1955. We could hear the commotion there that was going on because I think this incident had just happened. We were close looking at the TV and the radio so that we could hear everything that was going on because I think that was sort of the beginning of the Civil Rights Movement.
We are so excited because this year we are commemorating and celebrating the 70th anniversary of the Montgomery Bus Boycott. On December 1st, 1955, Rosa Parks, Miss Rosa Parks, took a defiant stand, or I guess seat, if you will, really for justice, if you will. And it was one of those moments in history that really sparked or ignited a movement. It will spark the Montgomery Bus Boycott, which will last 381 days in Montgomery, Alabama, and really change the trajectory of history in our country. So she's an exciting figure in and of her own rights, but the fact that it's a woman, I think in particular in that moment, really bodes well for the extraordinary people, women and men, who did just extraordinary things. We are commemorating and celebrating that 70th year anniversary of the Montgomery Bus Boycott and Miss Rosa Parks with Rosa Parks Day. It's a really beautiful tribute to this amazing woman, but it's also a tribute to our community and the great people of East Tennessee. There was a time in history when we couldn't sit together. There was a time in history when we couldn't connect with one another. There was a time in history where history tried to separate us. And because of Miss Rosa Parks and so many like her, history changed. I love talking to the ladies in this community because sometimes I think we relegate history to the national stage and the national names, but that's what Beck does. Beck is the place where African American history is preserved and conserved for generations to come. And we lift the voices of all of our people in our community. The nation was having a national movement. The movement was going on right here in Knoxville. People were having their own experiences. So I think if you really want to know what was life like in Knoxville, you got to talk to people who lived during that time. So that's what we're going to do. Let's talk to some folks who lived history.
Lived in Louisville, Tennessee, which is on the outside of Knoxville. We still had to ride the bus, but from where I lived, first place to even get to the bus, I had to walk 3 miles. After walking 3 miles, you would just get on the bus and obedient, go to the back. 7th grade, I just did what was the law. Catch the bus and do it, drink out of the colored fountain. That's the only thing we knew.
It's the only thing you knew.
I guess my race of people make me the proudest is because it seems like we're content when in actuality we're thinking about why is this happening? And that's why we just kind of all jumped into the movement when it did get started. I guess it was 1958 when I graduated from college. I've just graduated from college and I need a job. He says, well, there are no colored vacancies here. So that was the law, like Lindsay said, you just abide by the law back then. 8 years later, I had to come back to Knoxville. And guess what they were doing? Integrating the schools. And he asked me, do you mind teaching in a white school? So guess what I asked him? I said, do they have children there?
During that time, I had a similar experience as Rosa Parks. I was living in Miami, Florida. I got on this bus and I sat on the seat just as you exit the back door. And the bus driver looked back. He said, you can't sit there, you have to move. I responded, no, I'm not moving. I paid as much as anyone else to ride this bus. The policeman came on the bus and he told them I refused to move. They told me they were sorry. They would have to take me to jail, which they did. So when I went to court, the plaintiff wasn't there. So the judge told me, so we can just dismiss it if it's okay with you. Well, I told him okay, which I regret to this day.
Were you afraid when you went to jail? Or?
Oh, no. I felt that it was a great injustice, and I always felt that it was wrong.
Okay.
And I never felt less, than anybody. I don't know, it's just in my DNA.
This affects not only our community, but the entire country. It took over 3 years between the Montgomery Bus Boycott and what led to the U.S. Supreme Court decision. So it was a long period of time that they continued this bus boycott, and a lot of people were involved in it. So it's very instrumental in how we got to 1964 Civil Rights Act and whatnot. So
What I'm so very, very proud of is that we were segregated, but we rose up. It just wasn't this way. And you got on the bus, you happily went to the back, you're walking on the sidewalk, they come by, push you off the sidewalk, you got off the sidewalk, let them go by. They were just so mean. And you just wonder why, but
I thought about that for a long time, the irony that's in that story. I couldn't get a job because they were not integrated in the schools when I was Black. And then when I came back to town, they were integrated in the schools. And I was still Black.
I think women in the movement and women in history have always been extraordinary because they've always found a way to be resilient, even if it meant that they may not be the voice of that resiliency. They may not be the face of that resiliency. They were the power behind that resiliency. Rosa Parks left legacy. She left something bigger, something greater that each one of us can tap into. I hope that as we celebrate and as we commemorate, that we get excited about learning about more people in history who did extraordinary things that inspire us to also want to be extraordinary.
Well, I think it's very important that we know our history. We must never forget, because we're standing on the shoulders of all of those civil rights activists and people who suffered the most brutal treatments that we can even imagine. Our children need to know that.
Each of our generations, we're going to get stronger and stronger. And I also agree that the foundation of us getting stronger and stronger has been built on nothing but love.